Hi, I'm Richard.
And I'm Christy.
And welcome back to our YouTube channel, Fulfill the Game of Life.
If you're new to our channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss new content. And don't forget to hit that like button.
Now, as a quick note, I do want to say we are continuing to gain subscribers. We really do appreciate it. We understand you're actually spending your time with us.
Yes.
So thank you for taking the time to spend your time with us, and we hope we're giving you some smiles and some good information for your future path in life. And today, our second most watched video, other than just introducing ourselves as expats, is the 8 differences that we see between the United States and Portugal. So you know what? We thought we'd put another video together with 8 more differences.
So, number 1, right? So, number 1, things that are different that I've noticed at the grocery store. The milk. So, in the US, you will notice that they're in clear plastic jugs. They're refrigerated in the US. And here, you'll see that they're not refrigerated and they're in smaller cartons. And also, the shelf life on the milk here is about 3 months. And in the US, if you're lucky, you might get about 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's the definite huge difference. 3 weeks probably in the United States, a week or 2 on the shelf, or week or 2 in your refrigerator. And here, the cartoned milk has expiration dates. We're in June.
And I noticed that some of them are in September.
All the way out to September.
Which was surprising to me. I was like,
yep, you guys, Portugal's done that much better than the United States. To take something that spoils relatively quickly and store it in a way that it doesn't, and still has phenomenal flavor. Now, after you open it, you do refrigerate it.
Absolutely.
But that is pretty interesting how different that is, and honestly, frankly, a very much better system here in Portugal.
And number 2, the eggs. We've only seen brown eggs here as opposed to the white eggs that you see in the US. And again, those are not refrigerated. And the yolk as well is a much deeper yellow in color, and the flavor is much richer.
Yes, for sure. Again, there's a little bit of good news here for me. I don't know all the things that make eggs white, but I do know in the United States, eggs undergo a bleaching process to make sure they're as white can be, because that's how I guess we've been, kind of taught to look at the quality of eggs in the United States, is that they're white. So that was pretty interesting to us as well.
It was. Number 3. Is the hamburger meat here. I did notice that it has much less water content than in the US. And when I was cooking the meat, I did notice I had to add a little bit of olive oil because the fat content is much, much less. So that was an interesting observation.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I always have to editorialize these things. I became aware quite a few years ago that it's a really interesting thing in the United States is that it is legal to grind up ice in the hamburger meat. So when it's stored in stores, it has ice in it. Well, I'm sure someone came up with that idea in order to make more money, right? You have a certain amount of meat and you grind up ice and you increase the weight of the meat and you sell it by weight. And if you question whether or not that's true in the United States, this is all you have to do. When you put that meat on the stove and you first start cooking it, you will notice not a flood, but you'll notice water start to fill the bottom of the pan, and then the water will eventually cook off, leaving the fat, and then it will start frying like fat. Right. This is such a interesting thing as well, that this is federally regulated in the United States, that there's a certain amount of ground up ice they can put in meat. But that didn't seem to happen here. The meat that we've got, we put in there was no evidence that the water melted off. So again, that was a positive thing. That was pretty interesting. All right, on to number 4.
The dessert and coffee is very traditional here, and I really like that in the afternoons we definitely look forward to our coffee and pastries in the afternoon.
And we both kind of have a sweet tooth, and we're, in order to maintain, kind of our diet, we are kind of shrinking our entrees to leave a little extra space for the sugar at the end of it.
Exactly.
But the rich coffee, the almost bitter coffee with the sweet of the dessert is it's easy to get used to. Let's say that, right? Really easy to get used to. And on to number 5. Kind of worked on the wording to this to try to communicate it pretty easily, but what I'm calling it is the density of flavor. And we've got really 3 examples. We've already given you that coffee here compared to I think someone told you the American coffee
is dirty water.
Yeah, they kind of see it as dirty water here, and when you see the way that they deal with coffee, you see why the Portuguese people would see an American coffee that way, and I would say that's accurate. It's much thinner, much higher water content. So the coffee here, when you order it, is just much denser, much more coffee, less liquid. Well, that's not the end of it, actually. I love sausages. I tell you, when you go to the grocery store here, they are all over, and there's so many differences. I can't wait to kind of go through each one of them slowly, but we got a sausage. It was, instead of it being refrigerated, it was dried. It was in a package hanging on the wall. And the density of flavor was unbelievable. It was at least 50% more flavorful in America, but not by fat. They didn't add a bunch of fat to it. It was just the spices and how that they cured it. But basically in America, you can eat a piece of sausage kind of that long. Here, you can eat about this much, or at least me. It is so rich in flavor, salty flavor, just spices and those things, that is completely different. And I enjoy that. Can't wait to try all the sausages across Europe, frankly. And the third, by the way, I'm drooling in my mouth as I talk about it.
I can hear it.
I'm going to drown in my own spit talking about sausage. Anyway,
that's like me with hot sauce.
And ice cream. Ice cream is another one of those things that, if I'm 15 pounds overweight, 14 of those pounds are ice cream. I eat it all the time.
Every night, just about.
Almost every night. Yeah. And so, of course, coming here, there's concerns. What's the ice cream going to be like? So here's kind of our first take at it. We've only bought one brand of ice cream from the store, and it's good. It's not great. Back in the States, I preferred Breyer's ice cream. I still prefer Breyer's ice cream. However, there is one story that was completely different. We have a gelato shop right downstairs, and we went through there. I got chocolate and vanilla. Now, it was clearly dark chocolate, right? And one thing, about myself as well, when you eat chocolate, the more deeper the percent of chocolate that you eat, you will eventually, or at least it's happened to me, but you eventually lose the bitter taste completely. I can eat practically 100% cocoa and taste zero bitter. I only taste the cocoa, which is a beautiful thing to me. But it makes detecting the percent of chocolate when you eat, chocolate ice cream, of kind of how much cream there is and how much chocolate there is. It makes it really noticeable to me, because I eat really dark chocolate. Well, anyway, I go in, I buy the chocolate ice cream, the dark chocolate ice cream, and my first bite was, wow, that's really, really good chocolate. So I said, do you want to buy?
And I tasted it, and it was so bitter.
It was actually bitter.
It was like one of those 80% dark chocolate cocoa.
Didn't like it that much, really, for her. But it just reinforced the depth of chocolate. I no longer taste bitter. I only taste cocoa, and it's beautiful. So if you taste cocoa and you eat dark chocolate, that ice cream was awesome.
And I preferred the store chocolate ice cream.
She likes the sweeter.
Sweet. Yeah.
Yep. So again, density of flavor, sausage, dark chocolate ice cream, and coffee, all completely different here than the United States. And taste is up to the person doing it, whether they like it or not in that particular way. But I like all 3 of those. On to number 6. Another one of those things for me, Coca-Cola. I drink more Coca-Cola than practically any person I know. I became, though, really aware, and again, detecting differences in flavors become pretty obvious after you drink one thing for long enough. Just like wine connoisseurs can tell you the different berry mixes and maybe the soil content and all the things that make wines unique, I can taste pretty good the differences in Coca-Cola. And to not be surprised, if you've ever been to the World of Coca-Cola in Atlanta, Georgia, they make really clear that there is over, and I believe it's 100 different variances of Coca-Cola around the planet. And we became aware of, maybe the last couple of years, we became aware in the United States you could get your hands on the Mexican Coca-Cola.
Which, that one has cane sugar instead of the corn syrup.
Yeah, so the American corn syrup actually tastes different than the cane sugar made in the Mexican Coke.
And we definitely prefer the Mexican Coke.
Yep, so we then made it our mission to find Mexican Cokes in the Mexican stores, and we would buy those instead of the corn syrup American version. And so you come over here, and lo and behold, the Coke tastes differently. Once again, interestingly, it falls back to number 5. The density of flavor for Coca-Cola for me here is it's not as sweet, but it has more flavor, kind of less water. And it creates a couple of things. It creates this desire to put ice in it to water it down, because the flavor is so much stronger that drinking it for outright thirst is kind of hard for me to do. So it's just a difference. We can judge whether it's bad or good. I honestly still, I think, prefer the Mexican Coke over the United States Coke.
I think I would too.
But this Coke here is uniquely different, and I still enjoy it. All right, enough about Coca-Cola. On to number 7.
Apparently, I don't know how to count.
Song profanity.
I was shocked. We were listening to some music. I forget where we were, but I heard some profanity in the song, and I was like, oh, did you hear that? I was shocked.
In the United States, on the radio or on television, if someone even gets close to saying the F word, if they start with the F sound, they'll bleep it out in the United States, right? Any profanity in the United States is cut from the radio or just bleeped out or mixed back in. And like you said, we're sitting there eating. We've heard this already 5 or 6 times, heard it on the radio.
It's still a little bit shocking to me.
There was a song, there were 2 songs yesterday, and about 4, 2 of them, they continuously use the F word. It just catches you. It doesn't bother me personally, but I can see it bothering some people in the way that they view the world.
I felt like a little grade schooler, like, oh,
you're like, did you hear that? Did that just say what I thought it said? Hold on, let's listen. So, no doubt, that was a little bit shocking for us. And you actually see the same thing on television. Regular TV here, if there's profanity in the dialogue, they leave it there. Again, if you're offended by that, that's your view of the world, and we're comfortable with that. It doesn't bother me at all, but it is noticeable. And on to number 8.
That's right. Drinking water.
Do you want to tee this one up?
No.
The United States, people that I've grown up with my entire life, have this one view of the world that somehow the United States is the only country on the entire planet who has made faucet water drinkable.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter who you talk to, once you leave the country, and it's already happened to us here, where family says, what do they say?
Is the water safe to drink, or
are you drinking the water? It's amazing, yes. So in America, the American view of water around the world is you can only drink it in the United States and never drink water anywhere else. So we're here to tell you how that works here in Portugal.
The water is safe to drink here, and it does taste good. You can tell there's a little bit of a different flavor, but you're going to find that in the U.S. as well.
Yeah, I always have to say that if you've traveled around the U.S. and if you want to find the most noticeable water, for me, you travel to Florida and you order a glass of water, or even the ice cubes made from the water in Florida completely distort the flavor of drinks. but it's completely safe to drink. But I remember Arizona having a distinct flavor for me. We're down in Vidalia, Georgia now, and it has a less flavor, but there's still a flavor.
You can tell the difference between the water in Vidalia and Savannah.
Oh, you can. The closer you get to the coast, seems to alter the water flavor. So there is a slight taste of some mineral makeup in the water here, but it's no different than the United States, and it's completely safe.
It is,
So
absolutely.
if drinking the water is the one reason you don't explore the world, we can tell you pretty much any time you set your foot in Europe, you can drink the water. Now, there are places around the world you don't want to drink water, so we're all aware of that, but not here in Portugal. So that is wrapping up the next 8 differences we see from the United States to Portugal.
So if you have liked this video, please go ahead and hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe.
Ciao.
Ciao.